Hey there, people. How are ya? Hope you're doing great as always. Welcome to the Financial Fortress again. And I just felt like this week we should do something a little bit different, right? The week that we've just experienced was, well, it felt different, right? I don't know about you, but I had this like warm, fuzzy feeling in my belly. Uh, the S&P 500 jumped 6.1% for the week. The Dow gained 5.5%, and the Nasdaq surged a whopping 8.8. So, we might have seen the bottom. Obviously, no one knows what's going to happen, but it's a nice change of scenery, right? After the bloodbath we have seen for the past couple of months. Could this be a reversal? Well, nobody knows again, but the name of the game is just increasing your ownership in a great companies. So yeah, let's do this. A little bit of recap. What was the most important for the week? Let's get to it. So first of all, obviously, Jay Powell finally ripped off the band-aid and raised the interest rate 0.25%. That's kind of what everybody was expecting, right? So, that's kind of one of the catalysts that really helped the markets to get some kind of a ground, kind of a firm bedrock and retain some confidence. Because obviously, stock market hates uncertainty, right? Uh, the war in the Ukraine was going on for a couple of weeks already, so we kind of got used to that. As cynical as it may sound, obviously the market now takes that as kind of the ground zero, right? And is now concerned about what's going to happen in the second part of the year or even beyond that, right? So stock market is on always the leading indicator, and many people just sometimes cannot comprehend it, right? Because sometimes when we were like in this 2008 2009 period, we were deep in the recession, and suddenly the stock market kind of lifted off, and people were like, what's going on? I mean, the recession is still kind of raging, people are unemployed, what's happening, right? But of course, again, market is going kind of a pretty far out, right? So it was almost like one of the beacons of hope, and maybe we are seeing something along these lines now as well. And again, just kind of a briefly, right, in the crypto corner, Ethereum surged on Friday as well, and some of the altcoins outperformed. And Bitcoin briefly crossed that 42,000 resistant. So there was quite a lot of hope in the market overall, and it's going to be interesting to see what will transpire in the next week. So let's get into some of the more interesting stories. As maybe some of those more almost tragic stories, I would say, is what obviously the retail investors are doing, right? Because those are the ones that are often getting screwed because they don't have enough confidence in their own experience, are much easier to kind of sway with all the market volatility and extra emotion, both on the upside and also on the downside, right? So of course, when you are institutional investors, you are having a certain procedures and processes that in a sense protect you from doing a stupid mistakes, right? And unfortunately, it seems like at least portion of the retail folks were using this 3-day kind of a sustained rally as a chance to sell some of the stocks and put their money in others, seemingly safer in this rising rate environment. So retail investors were surprisingly net sellers of some of those fan favorite stocks like Tesla or Nvidia over the past 3 days. So for Nvidia, the sell orders outpaced buy orders in the ratio of like 1.1 to 1. So, nothing crazy, but seems like, again, some people are taking those modest gains and are still pretty spook about the market overall, right? And the same goes for Tesla, where the sell orders outpace buys by 1.4 to 1. So again, seems like retail investors are unfortunately still getting kind of flushed out of the market, right? And it's important to get that proper education, because if you are choosing individual stocks, it definitely comes with certain extra level of like your own conviction, right? That you need to build out based on your experience and skills in the market. Because if you are not able to really make the core thesis for your positions, you will easily get flushed out, right? If suddenly the price drops and you don't even know why you're holding the particular position. So that always breaks my heart when I see some of those sad stories, people kind of selling at the worst possible moment. But that's how it is. So protect yourself, and if you are picking individual stocks, that make sure that you understand what you're buying. That's my two cents basically, or these days more like 3.15 cents, or something along these lines, considering the inflation we are having. But let's get to the next story. Little bit of news from the world of cryptocurrencies. So in the last 3 months of 2021 alone, crypto applications had over 100 million downloads, marking a new quarterly record according to the analytics firm Uptopia and Adjust. What does that mean? Well, surging crypto app usage shows just how popular cryptocurrencies have become and how mainstream the market is, right? Fundamental crypto usage analysis is incomplete without taking apps into account, because many investors use apps for all the heavy lifting of crypto, right? Instead of interacting directly with the blockchain and going all the way into the nitty gritty, it's very important that there are, possibilities for really like average guy like me to kind of, go on a simple app, buy, sell, making it really smooth to basically polish off some of the edges and make it really available for the wide amount of people, right? Because obviously if more people are using crypto, that kind of lifts the whole ocean. So if we look at 2021's app bull run was much stronger than in 2017, which was another kind of those outsized wave in the whole crypto community. And basically, kind of looking core at the numbers, the downloads grew 64% in 2020. So that was pretty staggering. But then 400% in 2021. And the actual app session grew even more. Sessions grew 500% in 2021, reaching 4 billion in the fourth quarter. And the top 5 crypto apps that are currently being used are Coinbase, Crypto.com, Binance US, Binance, and Voyager. Those were the most popular in 2021. And there are lots of those, young and upcoming, right? Because, for example, Voyager wasn't even represented in 2020, right? And instead, the Coinbase Pro was the app number 5. So what does this mean? Should you go out and develop a new crypto app to make millions and retire in Cabo San Lucas? Probably, but most people can just try to capitalize on the trend in other ways, right? So you can, for example, invest in Voyager Digital, VYGYF stock, which is down almost 50% year to date, but it's one of the top crypto apps in the world. Or Coinbase, which is also down around 30% in 2022, with kind of a Bitcoin's rocky performance. So the general crypto market is still growing like crazy despite Bitcoin's price. And this means that cryptocurrencies are just becoming more popular as the market matures. So let's see how the rest of the year will unfold. But it seems like cryptocurrencies are here to stay with us. The dragon in the room is obviously the Chinese stock, probably the most speculative investment one can make in the market right now. But you have to say the prospect of them are actually pretty attractive in a sense. I mean, personally, I wouldn't touch them with a 10-meter pole, but for some of the swing traders, day traders, or, just some of the guys that like a little bit of a risk, it might be a very attractive play. Obviously, here we are not talking about something for kind of the average long-term investor, because there are so many kind of hurdles and complication with owning the Chinese stock, right? Because legally you are not even owning them, right? You are owning a stake in some offshore company in the Cayman Island that is owning the Chinese stock technically, but you never know what obviously Xi Jinping and the Chinese government can kind of come up with. So that's, obviously a tremendous risk, right? That's kind of the I wanted to say like a black swan scenario, but it's not even a black swan, right? Because black swan is something that you cannot even predict or comprehend. It's something that comes completely out of the blue. But this is a very real risk that everyone knows, that the Chinese government is obviously unpredictable and it can take your rights away just like this, right? One day they will just wake up and you're completely wiped out. So, if you are a serious long term investor, just stay freaking away from Chinese stock. But of course, if you want to gamble, hey, this might be actually an opportunity, right? Because many of those Chinese stocks are trading at outrageous valuations, really depressed on P ratio basis, and it could be the risk reward of the decade. They certainly aren't for the faint of heart, but if you can stomach some of the volatility, you could generate some fat profit. But again, at the expense of tremendous risk. So definitely not for me, and I wouldn't recommend it for no average guy or even someone experienced in the market, right? This is really play for serious traders that understand the risk and only for a certain portion of the scenario, right? But if you are someone who is even considering that risk, that means that you are someone who knows how to walk the walk, right? So if you are just an average guy looking on a YouTube video of some other random guy, then don't play these games, right? Because basically the Beijing said this week that they are basically like supporting the economy, working with the US regulators. Credit Suisse seems to think that there might be an opportunity, and they are kind of trying to appear as that they are friendly to the US investors, right? Because there is obviously a very close link between the US and the China at the moment, right? Even though those two kind of big behemoth countries are at odds with each other, right? Two big empires, but at the same time they are so interlinked, right? So, like basically, majority of the U.S. manufacturing is basically done in China, right? And obviously, China needs the U.S. investors to kind of come and help them because they are having lots of internal kind of conflicts, right? Obviously, their real estate market is in a very shaky position these days. So whether you like it or not, the US and China are very interdependent these days. So it's a very complex world. And if you want to play some of those games, well, better be careful, right? Because you know what they say, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. So proceed with caution. Master plan number 3. What are we talking about? Well, obviously, Elon Musk, the genius inventor and obviously businessman, arguably the best one of the 21st century. The guy shooting rockets equipped with cars into space, the guy deep throating potato swirls during fun fairs. Well, he's here for the third 343, right? His first master plan, if you're not already familiar with, comes with a very short blog post or letter he kind of published back in 2006. It was titled "The Secret Tesla Motors Master Plan," just between you and me. And the brief summary of the plan was: number one, create a sports car. Number two, use the money to build an affordable electric car. Number three, use that money to build an even more affordable electric car. Number four, provide zero emission electric power generation options. Simple as that, right? And 12 years after, we are having 800 billion, or depends on what they are, you kind of looking on the stock price, but we have almost a $1 trillion company. Well, that was the first master plan. The second one came in 2016 and again kind of condensed. It looked like this. Number one, create revolutionary solar roofs with seamlessly integrated battery storage. Number two, expand the electric vehicle product line to address all major segments. Number three, develop a self-driving capability that is 10x safer than manual via massive fleet learning. Number four, enable your car to make money for you when you aren't using it. So as you can kind of see, he's almost done with the master plan number 2, right? And obviously Tesla is in a sense $1 trillion startup, so there are still definitely things that Musk apparently wants to accomplish in his life. So he just tweeted one day and kind of let the world know that now there is master plan number 3 kind of on the way, and the whole world is speculating what can it be. No details have been released about this new master plan, but these seems to be the core goals that have driven Tesla to the company it is today. And Musk's past plans haven't always gone smoothly, but it is likely that the number three will have some bumps in the road as well. But that's expected with such ambitious goals, right? Elon Musk is always selling something that he will develop kind of down the road. Obviously, you can see it with the full self-driving, which is basically being sold many, many times over, but it's still not in the stage we want to see it. But of course, everyone knows that it will eventually come, right? The timeline is always the Musk's almost the weakest link. But when you are trying to go basically from zero to one and really accomplish something that hasn't been done before, it's always hard to make any time of prediction, right? Because you don't have any kind of a direct comparison. So maybe some people are speculating that the master plan number three is concerned with the Tesla bot. That could be a portion of a new plan, because Musk followed up the tweet about the master plan number three with the following: working hard to make useful products and services for your fellow humans is deeply morally good. Whatever the Techno King has planned, why I'm referring to him as the Techno King, that's because him and Zachary Kirkhorn, all of these titles in that you hear about the companies, like CEO, CTO, CIO, all of this is just kind of obviously made up, right? We as humans, we are just kind of making this framework that we live in kind of along the way, and there are no any real rules, right? If there are some laws, you can think about it more as kind of a very strong suggestion. If it's something that you should do, you can think about it as a suggestion, but everything is kind of made up, right? So Elon Musk was basically titled as the Techno King, and Zachary Kirkhorn as, if I remember correctly, Master of Treasury or Coin Master, something like that, in one of the official Tesla documents. So obviously he is having fun while driving this $1 trillion vehicle of his company. And visionary goals that will change the world and propel Tesla to new heights are obviously being in progress. And we can only speculate and find those little snippets wherever we can. So those were roughly some of the interesting snippets from the past week. And obviously there is definitely going to be some interesting development playing out the next week as well. So stay tuned for further episode or kind of a random analysis of the stocks we are interested in. And if you like my rambling, you can follow me on Twitter, which I will link somewhere. You can also subscribe to the channel. There are definitely many places that you can find me, interact with me. I would love to hear your thoughts about all of these crazy development we are having, because world is a very interesting simulation that was built for ourselves, and some of these glitches are very exciting. So see you very soon.